Hi and welcome to another Just Ask Jen video hosted by Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. I'm designer Jen Gallagher, and the question I'm going to be answering today is how can you incorporate your Instagram photos into an album? And while I was at the Craft and Hobby Association trade show, I found this amazing new system from We Are Memory Keepers that is called the Classic Leather Album. And it is specifically made for Instagram photos. It is so darling. So there are a couple of pocket pages that come with it. There are square, and then there are full size, so that you can go to a printer that you prefer that will print Instagram photos. And then from there you can add in some of their very charming little square embellishments. You can add in some of the larger 4x4 cards. They are double-sided. Or you can even print out an Instagram photo and then add some of their Insta frames. So this is their travel collection, fun colors. And then beyond just the embellishments that fit directly into these albums, and these albums come in a variety of colors, be sure to check out the gold one. That's one of my very favorites. There are embellishments that you can get from their full collection kits that you can mix and match. This is the Jet Set alphabet stickers. It does have a coppery finish on them. And then here are the pattern papers. So you can actually get these and cut them down to size and use them however you like in the collection kit. So these are just a fun set of things. And there are a few different Instagram sized collection kits that they released that coordinate with their full collections. So I just specifically requested this one because I've been traveling a lot and I wanted to finish up an album using the pictures that I took for my trip. So you could combine the Instagram pieces with the collection kit to do a full-size layout as well. But if you're looking specifically for an Instagram one, that is another option. One other tool that I requested that I wanted to use is this So Easy template. And the concept behind it is that there are teeny little holes that you can use a paper piercer to poke through your pattern paper or your cardstock, and then you can use embroidery floss to come back after you've poked the holes and stitch. And I wanted to do that on this particular album. So we're going to go ahead and use this Darling Peach album to create an Instagram album that focuses on travel. So let's go ahead and get started. So there are a couple of different card types that come in this collection kit. One is a journaling card kit, and you can see that I've just used a pen and I've journaled on both sides. And the pockets are about 4 inches. So if you are creating your own, you want to make sure that they are about 4 inches. And they just easily turn when they're just a thin page. The next kind is you have ones that have images on them, and then it has journaling on the other side. And you can decorate these however you like or leave them as is. I'm going to add a little bit of decoration with just some simple embellishments. So I just found a green that matched the collection, and I'll just add it to the top suitcase with a glue dot. And then I'll trim off the excess thread. And one thing that you want to think about is you don't want to add anything too thick, but just thick enough that it will still slide into the pocket. And I wanted to add something onto this side, and so this is another kind of card kit that you see in this kit, or rather frame, and you can place it right on top of your photos. And because you'll notice that most of the objects in this particular collection do have rounded corners, I do suggest that you use some kind of a corner rounder. This one's from Fiskars, and this particular one has a couple of different sizes or rounding depths. And I'll just round the corners with this tool. And you can adhere the frame directly to the photo or slide it in together, just to make sure that it covers all of the different parts of the photo. And then just using some adhesive on the side, I'm going to go ahead and adhere it directly to my photo so that it doesn't slip and slide once it's inside. Now, if you're using ones that have a die-cut title like this one that says Insta, you want to make sure that the part of the photo that shows through on the Insta makes that title still legible. If any of your photos still shows after you put the frame on, just use a pair of scissors and trim it off. And then I didn't want to use this tag side, so I'm going to place it right on top. So then when you turn it, you can see it looks like this. So I want to show you how to use the sewing templates because I thought it would be fun to do that. The first thing I did was I cut my pattern paper to 4 by 4 inches, and then I'm going to use the quarter rounder to round it so that it matches the rest of the items in the collection and in the album. And I particularly chose this pattern paper because I loved the diagonal, and I thought it would be fun to stitch on the diagonal. So I'm using the lines provided and matching the stitching template up to the bottom line of the pattern paper. And this is a good way to do this. Now you need to hold the template carefully, and then using the guide, it already tells you where to poke your holes. You simply poke all the holes for the word. Then you're going to thread your thread onto a sewing needle, and you're going to stitch just like you would on any kind of a stitching. If you haven't done stitching before, I am going to show you how I do it, and then I'll finish up the stitching so you can see what it looks like when it's finished. But this is a simple tool to help you get exactly equal distant measurements between each of your stitches. Now beneath the stitching template, I am using a special foam base. This one is from Little Yellow Bicycle. Sizzix makes one as well. You can even use a mouse pad. But what it does is it allows me to poke far into the pattern paper without poking a hole into my work surface. So let me show you what it looks like. When it's done, it just has a bunch of holes. But we're going to go ahead and stitch it so you can see how it starts to form a word. So what you need to do is you need to start with some embroidery floss, and I have tied a knot in one end, and you always want to start at the back, and you want to start in a strategic position. So I usually start at one that is farthest away so I don't waste. I come up through one and go down through the next hole, and then I'm going to skip and come up through the very next hole, and then I'm going to come back and go through the last hole. So this is kind of a back stitching technique. And you can see that because I have pre-punched my holes, pre-pierced my holes, that it quickly and easily starts to formulate a letter. And you'll just want to make sure that you always go up and down and repeat until the project is finished. At the very end, when you come back through, you're going to tie a knot on the back end, and we'll have a completely stitched word. I'm going to go ahead and do that and show you what it looks like when I'm done. So here's what the card looks like finished. You can see that it is all stitched in that light green embroidery floss. I did notice as I was stitching that I did have to refer back to the stitching template to see where the actual stitches would go, or else sometimes I got confused about which hole connected to which hole. So do keep this template handy. Now from here, you're going to be able to slip this custom-made card inside. However, on the back it's very messy and the pattern paper is upside down, and so you're going to want to plan something on the back, whether it is a full 4 by 4 inch photo that you've cropped or had printed from your Instagram feed, or you use another card. That's an option. But you can create a custom card with those great sewing templates anytime you want to add some dimension or texture to your projects. So now that I've shown you some of the basic kinds of pages that you can put in this Instagram album, I have gone ahead and finished the album, and then I want to show you what it looks like. So you can actually decorate the side of the album. You can create a title spine using some of the pattern paper and stickers from this collection. But what I did is I mixed up both the 4 by 4 and the cut up 2 by 2 sheet protectors, and I placed them all in the album. And so here's the album. You can alter the pre-made cards by adding things like pattern paper and twine and embellishments that you have around. These are the stickers from the collection. Again, some of the cards function on their own. You can add journaling and additional pattern paper to the pages. And then just little embellishments to a pre-decorated card make it go a long way. You can add additional journaling, stamping, whatever. Here are the smaller pocket pages, and they have these window ones that you can leave clear. I wanted to show you what it looks like when you just leave them clear and open. But then you can do photos as well, and I like to mix up both black and white. These I got right from my Instagram feed. You could also take a 4x6 photo and use a 2-inch or 4-inch punch or cut to create these pages. Another journaling page. This is one of the peekaboo things, but I added pattern paper behind it and a little enamel dot. And then on the other side, I did another one with a peekaboo heart shape and added pattern paper behind that. So on this particular one, you can see how the peekaboo shows through, but on this one, I've layered it. So a lot of different ways to do this. You can ink edges, you can mist. Here is the stitched card that we made. You can see that I've added enamel dots, some pattern paper, and some twine. And then here are the rest of the pages that we assembled together. I did add a few embellishments. Again, another 2x2 in 4 grid pockets. And then this large frame on top of another large frame for my larger photos. And then I finished it off with a journaling card, which has journaling on both sides. So there you can see a fun album that uses the Jet Set collection from We Are Memory Keepers. These Instagram albums come in several colors, so be sure to pick up your favorite. Thank you for joining me for today's Just Ask Jen video. Be sure to subscribe to the Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine YouTube channel so you don't miss out on this monthly video series.